people are going to get mad at me. If I have Kelli Hart in the studio and the camera's not turned on, I'm going to hear about it.
Yeah.
It is time for Ocala Magazine Radio with the effervescent Kelli Hart.
Good morning.
How you doing, Kelli?
Fantastic.
Happy Patriot Day.
Yes, thank you.
Patriot Day.
You too. You know, it's been one of those mornings where listening to the radio and everybody's, of course, remembering all the lives lost in 9/11. And so it's always kind of a somber day.
Somber?
Yeah.
But the celebratory?
Well, yeah. I mean, at the same time.
We're living, they didn't defeat us.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So. Just like anything else in life that you go through and you survive. Yeah. Comes with some amount of pride, but at the same time, it's just very sad.
It's one thing when it's a tornado, hurricane. It's another thing when it's just, natural, people die naturally or an accident. But when it's intentional,
right.
And it's intentional against you,
Sure. Yeah, that was huge. So in honor of all of the people that lost a loved one and lives lost and all of the heroes that rushed to be with those people, this is just a great day to remember them and say some prayers, keep them in your thoughts.
Where were you that day? What were you doing?
At that particular time, I had just graduated from the University of Florida, and I was working in Lowell. There was a level 8 juvenile facility there in between the men and the women's prison.
Oh, wow.
And so at that particular time, I was doing mental health counseling and trying to get the mental health program established out there. And and because it's a correctional type facility, I mean, they were there. They were residential inmates, for lack of better words, and we didn't have television or, radios or anything like that because we were always listening to the actual radios that we use to communicate with guards and such. Right. So I got a phone call, actually, from my mom, and she was in hysterics. And I thought, oh gosh, my first thought was something's happened to, my father or my grandparents or something. And so that's when, she told me. And at that time, it was just the first plane. So then very shortly after, of course, everything else transpired. So it was one of those situations where we didn't have access to TV or anything. Mm-hmm. So we all rushed out to our vehicles to hear it on the radio. And so,
wow.
Yeah, it's weird. It's that one of those things where when you say, where were you? No one forgets. I don't think I've ever asked a person, where were you, that they've said,
everybody remembers
oh gosh,
that one.
I don't really remember. Yeah. I mean, it's almost like you remember a lot of details that otherwise would have been so insignificant, but
the one thing that it does is, in remembering it, I mean, not the day itself, but one thing that remembering it does is it reminds us how our lives, our very lives, the freedoms that we take for granted,
right,
are truly, I mean, it sounds cliche because we say it so much, but truly,
right,
the people to thank for that are the veterans, are the military, are the first responders, etc.
Yes.
Police, firefighters.
Absolutely. I can remember at that particular time, and it's kind of sad because I feel like we've kind of gotten away from it again, but at that particular moment, we were all one country. It wasn't about race at that time. It wasn't about economic status. It really was just we are Americans, and I felt like in spite of such a travesty, we came together and we were one nation, and I feel like we've kind of lost sight of that and have gotten a little bit, well, actually a lot further away from that now.
Yeah.
Because you hear in the news now we're so separated again. It's like if we could just recall that moment where we were all Americans, then we'd probably get a lot more accomplished.
But if I never watched TV, I wouldn't think that about America. In other words, I think a lot of it has to do with the media.
Well, sure.
In your world.
Oh, yes.
In your world. Is there a racial divide in your world? Is there a religious divide in your world?
Not necessarily.
Is there some though?
There's some.
Yeah.
There's some. I've had some things said about me, just racial type things. Obviously, I have a mixed daughter, and so I've lived through a little bit of that. But I've never been attacked. Or any of those things. I know, but
knock on wood.
But yeah. So in my world, I've not experienced even remotely close to what, of course, I've seen on TV. Mm-hmm. So we have such a powerful influence, and I think that, Ocala Magazine obviously doesn't do it, WOCA does not do it, but there are media outlets that really sway the perception of what's going on, so it can be pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful.
So have you traveled much? Well, were you a traveler much before September 11, 2001, and have you noticed differences since then, between then and now?
You know, prior to September 11th, I had never flown, ever. So I really don't know what it was like prior to that, because I had never been to an airport. I had never flown anywhere. And so after that, I flew. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't worried that kind of thing was going to just continue to happen. Right. But I heard people complaining about all the differences and how different everything was and the heightened security. And I guess I had no comparison. So for me, it was not a huge deal.
What I miss is being able to see somebody off at the airport and go up on the observation deck and wave to the plane. You can't really do that anymore. You can't even go in there with them anymore.
No, once you get to a certain point, that's it.
They have to go,
say your
and
goodbyes.
You have to,
yeah, right there. Yeah. I mean, I went. We went shortly after to New York, and were able to see where the Twin Towers were, and there was still a lot of just dust and and remnants and garbage.
How soon after did you go?
It was within the year.
Oh, wow.
So it was within the year.
They still hadn't finished cleaning it up yet.
No, there was so much.
Wow.
There was so much. But there was also so many memorials and things constructed that people were able to sign. And, you get your marker, your pen, whatever you have on you, and you sign it. And it was really surreal. I mean, when you see it on TV and then you're there standing, it's just is so surreal. And I can recall, I think the one thing that just stood out to me more than anything else, and probably because they played it over and over and over, and probably because it's so unusual to have happened, but watching people, tiny little, images of bodies coming out of those towers and just, just floating down. I think for me that was probably the most horrific idea of what happened that day, because I thought to myself, I can't imagine the fear and the feeling of isolation at that moment and being totally alone and knowing.
We don't know if it was the heat. We don't know what caused them to say, that's it, I'm out of here.
I know. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, I can't even imagine being in that position to have to.
Well, again, our firefighters are unbelievable.
Yes.
There was we had an interview with a fire chief 2 years ago, and I was just listening to it again this morning, and two things came out of that I just wanted to tell you. The pile of rubble was 12 stories tall. If you think about the Hilton, the Ocala Hilton is 9 stories tall. So the pile of rubble was 2 acres wide, first of all, and 12 stories tall. Holy mackerel.
That's unreal.
That is huge. You just didn't realize that from looking at the pictures.
Right. You didn't.
You could have stood there underneath at the foot of it if you were helping out with the.
Right.
Do you know what else too is that cross that they found, which as a Christian woman, I know you probably have no problem with that cross, but a lot of people did. And in fact, it almost didn't end up in the museum. It is, from what I understand, I haven't seen it, but from what I understand, that cross ended up in the museum. It meant a lot to those rescue workers.
Yeah, as it should have been in the museum.
Yeah.
It's funny, we have such an issue with the cross, but we're supposed to be okay with everything else. So
I know, isn't that crazy?
So I'm always, when that subject comes up, I'm like, okay, look, I'm okay with your thing and this thing and that thing, but then I expect for you guys to be okay with my thing as well. So.
Right. I like that bumper sticker that says coexist. Have you ever seen that bumper sticker?
Yes, I have.
It's got a little symbol from this one and a little symbol from that one. And
a little bit of everything. Yeah, I like that. I certainly do. So, today is one of those days that we just kind of celebrate.
Did Ocala Magazine have a special issue like shortly after the September 11th attacks?
Well, gosh, I wasn't there. I wasn't there at that particular time. So, in fact, we were just talking in the lobby that this month marks my 2-year anniversary.
Oh, wow.
As editor, at Ocala Magazine. So that's really exciting. So I don't know. I would have to guess that shortly after that must have been a topic with all media. I can't imagine it not having been. So this month, I don't know if I know there's some out in the lobby. I don't know if you've had a chance to sit down and look at it, but this is look at this. Isn't this just awesome?
That's a nice cover.
A football issue, which we talked about.
Who's the guy?
So this is Keanu Neal. He's a starting safety at the University of Florida.
Nice. That's a wonderful picture.
So we were able to get him in the studio. It was so much fun. And then there's also an exclusive interview with him inside. I mean, just really awesome really awesome interview.
Did you get him to do that?
Photos. Yeah.
Yeah? Well, what'd you do? Say just scream?
We
yeah?
said scream as loud as you can, and he looked at us.
Is that a green screen behind him, or was he actually on the field? Okay.
No, he was in our studio. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we got him to do all kinds of really fun poses and scream, and he warmed up. He's,
Oh, wow.
kind of a shy kid, but then
A shy kid.
he came out of his shell. It was a lot of fun.
All right, you know what we have to do? We have
Take
to
a break.
So
Yes, let's take a break.
Let's do the break. We'll be right back.
Ocala Aviation now has opportunities for flight instructors.
Wait, hold on. Brad, is this correct? You're looking for instructors, not students?
Actually, we're looking for both.
Well, that's descriptive.
Well, I need flight instructors because we're now affiliated with a major university and can offer 4-year degrees. Plus, we're also approved to work directly with VA students.
Okay, so a degree in what, and what's a VA student?
Well, it's a bachelor's degree in aeronautics, which includes a commercial pilot's license, and there's financial aid available. By VA students, I mean veterans. They now have access to new benefits to pay for flight training.
Okay, so you have new opportunities for new students. What about the instructor side of it?
Well, with new students, we need more instructors.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
So, if anyone out there is a flight instructor, I want to encourage them to come see me. And if they're not an instructor but have their commercial license, we can help them become an instructor.
So they get their instructor license and have a job too.
Exactly.
So you got a lot going on. The VA, the college, and now hiring instructors and future instructors too.
Yep, so now can we get the commercial started?
Already ahead of you.
Call Brad to get your adventure started today at Ocala Aviation, 861-7484.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be hot and humid today. Sunshine mixed with clouds. It'll lead to a thunderstorm in the afternoon. High 90 to 93. Tonight, some clearing. Shower thunderstorm near the coast this evening. Low 71 to 75. Tomorrow again, sunshine mixed with clouds. Couple showers and thunderstorms. High of 82 to 88. An afternoon thunderstorm for Sunday with a high of 81 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Maggie Johnson.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood. And when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then I found doctors at New Male Medical Center. They made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me like my situation was one of a kind. With a custom treatment plan that really works, I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
The Appleton Museum of Art has a full schedule this fall of studio art classes for all ages and abilities. Kids can enjoy after-school classes and special programming on school half-days and the first Saturday of every month. Adults can take everything from calligraphy to painting to wheel throwing. For schedules and class descriptions, visit appletonmuseum.org or call 352-291-4455. Bring your creativity to the Appleton Museum of Art, located at 4333 East Silver Springs Boulevard.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
It's the sound of whirring drills and slurping suction and scratching that cause many of us to panic in the dentist chair. Don't miss this. It's so simple. Standing more can help you lose a significant amount of weight. One of the all-time most hated lines by women, "Feel my shirt." Do you know what that feels like? Boyfriend material.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
All right, 20 minutes after 10 o'clock, Kelli Hart is in the studio from Ocala Magazine, and this is Ocala Magazine Radio. So, and you got a new issue, and it's all football.
Yeah, it's all football.
Perfect timing,
right?
Yeah,
so it's really cool. You know, we very seldom do we have a themed issue where literally everything in there, all of the content is related to one specific subject matter. So it was a lot of fun to find ways to make everything fit and still have a really entertaining book.
Is there a way to know who actually picks up the magazine? I would think that somebody who might not normally pick up that magazine will pick it up now because it's about football.
Sure. Well, and we hope that the gentlemen will be more
that's what I'm thinking. The guys are going to say, "Oh, this is not Cosmo this week."
Right. Yeah.
month.
Well, we also understand that when we put a pretty lady on the front, they're still likely to pick it up too. But
yeah, but they won't
obviously
read it.
Right, maybe
look for the pictures.
They might not actually flip through and be really intent on reading what's inside the magazine, but there are ways to find out who our readers are, and everything down to age, kind of age grouping and household incomes and things of that nature. So we do like to every so often get those stats because it helps us write to our readership.
Can
obviously.
one subscribe to Ocala magazine?
Sure.
Could I have it mailed to me?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, and we do have some people we have several people. They've lived here and they'll move away, but
I
they
would.
still want to get Ocala
If I
magazine.
did not live here, I would definitely have it
Sure.
mailed to me.
We've had people that just came to visit. A lot of the hits, when people come for hits, they're only here for a short period of time.
Uh-huh.
But because we're the official city magazine of hits, our magazines are out at all of the different events.
Okay.
And people pick it up and they enjoy it. So then they want to get it all year long. So we love it. We love to be able every month to have subscribers that we ship to. So that's a lot of fun.
So what was as a... I mean, you've obviously have some insight into sports.
Sure.
But were there any challenges writing about sports for yourself or for any of the writers?
Well, Keith Chartrand, so one of our ideas was to do some profiles, just little snippets on professional athletes that are either from here that have gone on to play or possibly players that have some kind of local tie to Ocala. There are some that are playing professional football, are retired from professional football that have simply just silently invested in businesses and such. So when Keith got ready to sit down and write it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of information to gather. And of course, there's more, I think, professional athletes that have a local tie than people would assume. And we didn't have space, of course, to go into the biographies on everybody, but he did his best in trying to track them down. What are they doing now since they retired? And so that was a challenge definitely for him to be able to acquire that information. So one of my challenges was when we decided we were going to do a little bit of a tailgating feature, because everybody loves to tailgate. I guess unless you live in Philadelphia, where you're not allowed. You're not allowed. They don't.
You're not allowed?
No.
What?
No. Yeah.
What's wrong with them?
Well, they're
I thought it was
rowdy.
the brotherly love.
Well, except for on Sundays. So yeah. So things get a little out of control, and certain cities don't allow for tailgating. On
really?
premises and stuff. Yeah. So so we decided we were going to do some recipes so that on game day, if people watch the game from home or they make a dish and take somewhere.
Did you try any of them?
They'd have some. I haven't yet. I haven't had time.
Should've brought some in here.
I should. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll make something and then I'll bring it in next week for us to try. But what I decided to do, rather than just take to Google and find recipes online, I reached out to some of my still girlfriends whose husbands either still play professional football or they've retired.
Okay.
And said, send me your favorite
really?
game day dish. Yeah. So
you have celebrity recipes.
Yeah. So we're talking players' wives that have these sweet, so Kim Culpepper, her husband Dante, of course, from Ocala and played for several years in the NFL. And so she gave me her sweet Culpepper wings, and so it was a lot of fun to get the recipes from the wives, because this is what
could be a whole
they
business.
Make.
Could have a restaurant franchise or whatever.
Right, just a bunch of wives and their favorite dishes, or maybe like a recipe book or something. But so it was fun. So I wanted to make sure that any
weird ones, any squirrel or something like that.
Squirrel?
Yeah,
no, nothing like that. No, everything looks really good. So fried mac and cheese bites, and this one is a champagne freeze. So of course, if you want to be really fancy on game day and you want to have some champagne, but like queso dip. And it was really just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to see, for me to reach out. Some of them I talked to here and there, but I hadn't really communicated with in in a little while. And so it was nice to reconnect and have them send me their recipes and know what they're making on game day when they're watching their husbands. So
wow. Is the magazine a keep? Like, could you get the autographs of people in the magazine? Like, if I had the magazine, could I walk up to them and say, "Hey, could you autograph this? This is your recipe." And
yeah, well,
or this is your wife's recipe.
Well, some of them, like, for example, so my friend LaTorsha Tomlinson, her husband, LaDainian Tomlinson, obviously very, very well-known athlete. They don't live here. A lot of these wives live in the respective cities where their husband either plays or has retired. So it was a matter of kind of reaching out long distance, but yeah, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't, especially if you're a Gator fan and we have this beautiful Gator cover, why you wouldn't.
It's a really nice cover.
So
who do we thank for the cover? Who's the photographer?
Well, Chris Redd is our chief photographer, and Phil Durlam is our creative director. And so together they put, there was tons and tons of pictures. I mean, it's so, when people see the final cover, I don't think they even understand.
They don't realize how many they said no to.
Well, how long the photo shoot took and how many options that there were. And so it takes a lot of agreeing, because one might like this cover and one might like that cover.
Right.
And so it really just boils down to what we think will be picked up and appreciated more by our readers.
1 week from today, there's an event for Special Olympics where a bunch of famous football players from NFL.
Yes, we'll be there.
Are you going there?
For Champion Dinner.
Champions for Champions, yeah.
Yeah, Don Nottingham. In fact, it was funny. I was just at my desk working a few weeks ago, and in walks this gentleman, and he has all this information, and so we just started chatting, and lo and behold, it was Don.
It was Don.
And I was really excited, and I got my picture with him, and of course, sent it to my dad. My dad's a huge Miami Dolphins fan, so I was like, yeah, no big deal, just sitting here working, and a Miami Dolphin walks in. So, and he was included, of course, in our article about local professional athletes. So that'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait to go to that dinner.
Have you met Maria, the lady he's working with?
Yes.
Maria Roman?
Yes, she was with him also. So very nice. So we're
great.
super excited about that. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool events coming up. And we've got our calendar in the back of the book, that we always have there to try to lay out upcoming events so that when people don't know what to do and they say there's nothing to do.
By the way, the best of the best.
Yes.
I went to the website to cast my vote, and I held it off because some of them I haven't been to.
Okay.
So the best of the best actually serves to introduce us who don't get out very much, I guess, like myself, to, I didn't know we had that restaurant, or I didn't know we had that business that I might be interested in. So
there's a lot of people on the list that I have either heard of but never tried, or just have simply never heard of.
So glad you didn't put radio in there this year. It's like,
well,
it's a big weight off our shoulders. It was so hard.
Every year, so it's a wonderful thing, best of the best, but at the same time, we know that it comes with challenges. And of course, we have the people that email or call, why wasn't I on the list? Why isn't my category on the list?
Glad.
We do our best every single year. The nominations come from the community, the categories, we open it up for suggestions for new categories. So we really do try to make it as fair as possible. But the reality is there's no perfect way, and there's no perfect list, and everybody can't be on it.
But for everybody else who doesn't have an ego or non-ego invested into this whole thing, it really is a wonderful way to introduce us to some, because the city's bigger than we realize.
Yeah, way.
And we went to a restaurant the other day I had never been to, and there's just so many of them out there. So
yeah, even typing up the list to send it to the company that does our survey, I'm just like, wow, I've never been there. So yeah, you're right. It does introduce you to new people. So please go to Facebook, like us on Facebook, Ocala Magazine. Go to ocalamagazine.com. The links are on both of those sites so that you can vote and share it. Especially if you're on the list, share it out.
Oh, absolutely.
Let your customers know. So
campaign
best of luck
for yourself.
to everybody. Yeah.
Oh, and Tuesday, I guess we find out if we get a new mayor or not.
I guess so.
And a new councilman. Or not.
And a new councilman.
I'm voting for an incumbent and a newbie.
Yeah?
I'll just put it to you that way.
I think my votes are in line with yours as well.
Thank you, Kelly.
All right, have a great weekend.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Those who were lost 14 years ago on 9/11 are remembered.
Nicholas W. Brandon Marty.
Daniel Raymond
The reading of names at Ground Zero in New York City, moments of silence observed there and elsewhere around the nation, including